Honestly, kudos to the guys. Kudos to Sheyi, kudos to Olale, kudos to Olayin, and of course, Oracle Kachi. Unfortunately, he's not gonna be with us today because of some form of engagement. But so far, so good. We've done a whole lot of justice to the World Cup, previewing all the groups, and excellent job, guys. We were on Twitter yesterday. We were on Facebook, I were on Instagram as well, trying to do justice to what was going to happen today and what everybody is expecting. And don't forget that we put out a draw out there for you guys to join us. And if you could predict very well and your team wins, you could be winning yourself a branded jersey of a national team of your choosing. Anywhere you are in the world, don't worry about it, we'll get it across to you. That's what we do. My name is Aleja Adebowale, and it's still the best sporting show in the whole of the universe. It's News Instance Sport, airing on the Band Radio Scope, of course, on our YouTube channel, on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Welcome to the show, guys. It's going to be, I have a couple of opinions that might not be popular with the West especially, but of course I'm going to hear you nonetheless. I have with me today, I have Olayinka. We've dragged him back from exile. He's back with us today. Lucky to have you today. And Olawale is here, and of course Sheyi is here. Olayinka, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi guys, it's good to be back. I've missed the show. I've missed you, my sports family, and I mean it's World Cup time, and it's just the right time to be back. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
All right, perfect. I missed that word. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. That's his catchphrase. Olawale, go ahead.
Yeah, welcome everyone around the world. We are very relieved that the World Cup eventually got underway today, and we are here to serve you all the details of what went on earlier on and what is going to happen tomorrow. Welcome to the show once again.
All right, perfect. Sheyi.
Yeah, welcome everyone, sports fans around the world. Welcome to this special edition, especially with the World Cup kicking off. Once in 4 years, and whenever it comes around, it's usually, it's a football festival actually around the world. And of course, first time for the World Cup going to the Middle East, and first time the World Cup being played in winter. Fans. We expect explosive, events to happen in this particular World Cup. Sit down and enjoy today's event as we've already seen the opening match and the opening ceremony of the World Cup. Welcome, everyone.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much for that, Sheyi. And where do we start from? We'll be starting from, since we have Sheyi and Olayinka, if they were not around, I probably would not thought this, but Fury is going to be fighting against Chisora next week. No surprises. We are not expecting any surprises there. Honestly, I think it's going to be a one-way fight, maybe fifth, sixth round, unless Tyson just decides to be a little bit wicked and stretch the fight like Muhammad Ali would do. Olayinka, that's my own opinion. I stand to be corrected. What do you think?
You are right too. I totally agree with you. Tyson Fury, to me, is probably one of the best heavyweights to ever exist. Well, that might sound controversial, but because of the fact that he's a very versatile boxer, I see him in matches. He moves from being a right-handed boxer into a southpaw stance. That is something that it took me a while to get used to. And if it's confusing me, an analyst, you can imagine the opponent. They'll probably be in confusion land.
In La La Land.
They'll be in confusion land all through. And that has been his major asset. His unpredictability. He carries his weight very well. And right now, I don't see anybody that can bring him down. Not Derek Chisora. Chisora is hard-hitting. He's a very hard-hitting boxer, always tough. I don't want to call him a journeyman at this point in time, but he's hard-hitting. And obviously, Fury is going to have the advantage in reach, height, and confidence. But hey, you never write off the underdog. Fury, if he lets down his guard for a minute, Chisora will probably land one of his favorite punches. But I don't see that happening. Trust me. between you and me, Fury is 34, he's still strong, he still speaks a lot, but he always talks the walk, or he walks his talk. You understand?
Yeah.
So I see a
100%.
victory for him come next week.
Shay, do you agree with Olayinka about that? Like, it's going to be a stroll in the park for Tyson on this one.
Yeah, definitely. I think I've said this before, and I'm still going to stand by my last prediction about Tyson Fury and Derek Chisora. Derek Chisora is probably just fighting to get the bag. You know, he's at the twilight of his career. Tyson Fury, on the other hand, I think he just needs someone to just fight, to stay active. I'd like to mention, recently I saw a clip of Sylvester Stallone. I don't know if anybody saw it here. He mentioned something about Tyson Fury, which actually catched my, my
attention.
My attention. Sylvester Stallone is a star, a movie star that actually acted. What's the name of this Rocky franchise? He had to put a lot into boxing. You know, he had to study quite a lot in boxing generally to do that particular movie. And for Sylvester Stallone to come out to tell us that for him, he feels Tyson Fury is the greatest heavyweight boxer of all time. Speaks a lot about Tyson Fury. And the only thing he mentioned while he was saying that was that with the weight of Tyson Fury and the way he moves around the ring, it's crazy that it's going to be very hard for any other heavyweight fighter to beat him. And that really struck a chord in my head. Heavyweight boxers are that's why they call them heavyweight.
Yeah, they're quite
they rely on the power punch. They are not really the movement in the ring is not their best. It's not their forte. But Tyson Fury combines the skill of a heavyweight boxer and the skill of probably a featherweight or a lighter weight boxer. That makes him invisible in the ring. And that is why Sylvester Stallone had to say what he said. So for me, I think that bout is for Tyson Fury to just stay active and be waiting for probably the unified bout with Usyk, if that is going to happen.
If it's going to happen. Anyways, we hope it does happen. I don't see anybody defeat. You never say never. We waited for Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury for more than 2 years or more than 3 years. COVID in between was an excuse, but even after that, we saw the shadow of Joshua and what he cannot do, not what he can do, what he cannot do, and it just turned the whole tide and the whole waves. Anyways, in the at the ATP final tour of the ATP, Djokovic defeated Ruud Kasper. He's one of the new kids on the block. So but it's not surprised that they hold it. He's still coming up to show up his legacy and tell you, hey guys, I might be old, but I'm still here and I can defeat anybody that comes my path. I think that's the news for Djokovic. Anyway, so a more controversial one will be the case of Kyrie Irving. And I know this is something that most conventional media houses have tried to shy away from. I've refrained myself from talking too much about this, but in the space of, or should I say in the event of things that happened in the past couple of weeks, especially with the World Cup, I think it's about time that things need to be said the way they are. And it's the world reeks of hypocrisy. The level is too much. Like, we all have different laws for everybody. On one side, someone can do something and get away with it. On the other side, someone would do something and they will be crucified for it. It's fine if this happens in the court of law. At least the lawyers can handle that and we can say, they have a better argument. But if they keep showing this political BS down our throats in sports, and if you see sports, we understand sports. Nobody is an independent an island. That is factual. But if they keep throwing this thing down our throats in sports and meshing sports with politics, where do we have the division? And I'm saying this in reference to Kyrie Irving and the injustice that has been served on Kyrie Irving. Because for me, it's a big injustice. Okay, now, and I'll buttress that by my point of Amazon have the same movie that Kyrie promoted, and he did not promote the movie. And I can say it anyway, I can stand by it. He tweeted a link. That's all he did. It was not a promotion. But Amazon is showing this same movie on their platform. And the NBA, for some strange reason, are blind to that. They can't see that. But because it's Kyrie, the Hammers and Matlocks and Caterpillar needs to come down on him. And we can argue all we want that Kyrie is a bad. He has big ego. He's crazy. He has sentimental value. He has this. He has that. But we cannot have two sides of the law for everybody in sports. This is open, and it doesn't make any sense. And they gave Kyrie a 5-point agenda that he needs to meet within 1 week. You have to do this. You have to do this. You have to do that. You have to do this. Just for the poor guy, they want to send Kyrie out of NBA because of the same movie that Amazon is showing. And the legend of the game is Shaq O'Neal that has been going around to haunt Kyrie Irving. This same movie was shown at the cinemas 3 years ago, and he's not taking any apology. And it's on TSN. It's on all the shows in America, all the podcasts in America, clamping down on Kyrie. And I don't know. It does not make any sense. People have chance. They have. I don't understand. I don't want to bring politics to it, but they've already brought politics into it. Don't we have freedom of speech again? And if we have freedom of speech, don't you have a good way that we need to be well represented? Olale, it's crazy, and I'm annoyed and I'm angry at this thing. Because to me, it's the BS. That's the truth.
I've had my angers for a while. I just think I think the truth is some certain things are probably not the way they let us believe. There's nothing like freedom of speech. The freedom of speech is limited to whatever either they believe in or they want you to have. If you cross some certain lines, you understand that there is nothing like a freedom of speech. You've rightly put it the way it is. I think, unfortunately, they are trying to probably play on the fact that Kyrie has some controversial issues in the past.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they are still very, very annoyed, very, very bitter for the fact that Kyrie refused to take that COVID jab. Like, that tweet might even be a criticism of the movie. You don't even know whether he tweeted the link just to probably later on probably make a point on it. It is silent. You can't just decide that for the fact that
It's a
he
promotion.
tweeted the link that probably means promotion. I'm sure if Kyrie is if he's to pursue this in the court of law in the future, I'm sure he has a case because at a point in time, this is turning to, even after he apologized, you now came out with some certain things that he has to fulfill. It's more of like you want to strip him of his dignity. Like
Exactly.
Like,
That's the right word.
You want him to beg for his food. Like, you will make sure that you beg before getting this. So it's more of an agenda. It's more of like, even though we give you guys that
fame, money, and whatever.
Even though we still, you guys can say whatever you want to say, but we can still determine what we want you to say. Because okay, I've seen a lot of movies where people come up with some stories whereby they portray a Muslim community in a certain way, or somebody comes out to say something against the Muslim community. They will tell you that that's freedom of speech. But if it's against a certain community, then that's you are what do you call it? You are either
you're either anti-Semitic or whatnot. Let's just say the way it is, man. The worst that can happen is that they will take down this channel and will take down everything. That's the worst that can happen.
I think the best message is this. And if you look at what has happened at the World Cup, the message is, until you have the power, you don't have you can't
You're not they say.
do anything to these people. And that is what Qatar is doing to the world now.
Anyways,
If
we'll get
Qatar was not
that.
a,
Well,
We'll get that in a
if
short
they are not,
bit.
if they were not
honestly,
to be a rich country,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sure they could have
yeah. We'll
find a
get
way of
that.
getting
We'll
that
get
World
there
Cup
in a
this
short
season.
bit. Olayinka, I'm gonna come to you now, and my next question will be: there are two things when they talk about freedom of speech in the Constitution or in the UN Charter, and the two principles that is based on is one is called the audio authorum patent, and the other one is nemo judax in casasa sua. So what that means is you can't be the judge in your own case, and you have to hear both sides to be able to judge. But in this case, Andrew Silva, who happens to be the NBA chief, is a Jew. The owner of Brooklyn Nets flocks with Jews, and it looks like they are the judge at the same time they are the prosecutor of Kyrie Irving. Kyrie is coming back. It looks like a forgotten issue right now, but they've already laid a bad precedence. So when next this kind of thing happens, they will toe down the same part. Olayinka, I want your view on this, your objective view on this one.
Honestly, I want to believe that Olawale has actually said it all. Well, in the world nowadays, you have very sensitive issues. Okay, you have the anti-Semitic issues, you have the LGBT issues, you have a lot of key issues. But the major thing is that it appears that Ivan is being targeted because of his previous record. Let me put it like that. You know, that's the way most powers in the private sector. Let me put it like that. That's the way they behave. Once you are seen to be not just against them, once you are seen to be in the forefront of challenging their authority, they'll mark you down. They'll just mark you down. So at that point in time, the issue that you raised to challenge them, they might not respond immediately, but they will mark you down, put you in
wait for the other things.
Yes, wait for the right time to show their own power. And I want to believe that that's what's happening to Ivy now. Everybody has come out to say that even the punishment was excessive. The King said it. Brown said it. Celtics Brown, who is the vice president of the Players Association. Everybody has said it, and to me too is excessive. Come on, a minimum of 5 games without pay. Despite the fact that the guy came out to say that he actually was not anti-Semitic. So eventually, he had to take a meeting between him, Ivan, and Sai, the owner of Net.
The owner of Net.
Sai now came out and said that yes, this young man is not anti-Semitic. And I mean, it goes to show that absolute power corrupts absolutely, and a lot of power play occurs in every sport now, which is not meant to be, like you've been saying. There's too much mix of sports with politics.
We don't even see it. Anyways, Sheyi, I'm gonna come to you now, and I'll reference some guys in your club. I think it was Paul Pogba and Diallo, the young guy. I've forgotten his first name for some strange reason. Amadou Diallo, and they came out with, after a match, they were wearing a Palestinian flag to show solidarity with the Palestinians and whatnot. And the word came out, their club came out, not in support of them, that you guys should not do this again. It's against the principle of sport. Sport is not meant for politics. But here we are every day, we see politics being thrown into sport. We see human rights abuses being thrown into sport. We see people that are the benchmark of hypocrisy coming out to say BS every day. These are people that colonize people. I was watching something I think yesterday, and the Prime Minister of Italy was showing the Francis CFA. I said, look at this money. It's being printed in France for all the Francophone countries in West Africa. And all the treasury of Burkina Faso, that happens to be one of the poorest countries in the world, goes to the vaults of France. But here we have double face. I know you are always objective with your opinion, so I want to hear your say on this, Shay, before I move on.
Okay, I actually think you're putting me on the hot seat, and sincerely, because I think growing up, I've always known FIFA and the rest of the sporting organizations to mention that they don't want to mix politics, with sports, and because of the beauty of the game. But I think it's very hard to separate it, because I think there's politics within sports. We cannot really separate that. Also, there was a time I read a book about laws, and something struck my mind about laws. That laws are actually made for the less powerful people, and I think that is what is playing out here. When you are less powerful, there's a way the law can bend towards you. So, to be sincere, I think what the likes of everybody, from the law, you say there's freedom of speech and freedom of expression, right? If you are able to display your support for a particular tribe or a particular set of people who are suffering, I think you have your beliefs are appreciated. But like I said, the law has always been a tool for the powerful towards the less powerful. So that's the way I see it. And the only way you tend to avoid that is to play by their rules. And I think it's something that's supposed to be looked at. We've seen quite a lot of examples in sports. You just mentioned about the Kyrie situation. We have the Qatar 2020 World Cup situation. We have quite a lot of examples in the sporting world. In fact, we can also bring in the likes of Medvedev, because for me personally,
exactly
what those guys were subjected to affected those guys throughout the year. Medvedev was actually flying high earlier in the year. In fact, last year, before the whole issue
Russia-Ukraine war, and they threw him off.
To fly a white flag and to say they don't have anything, they are not supporting the president of their country. For a sportsman, he's a sportsman. What does it concern with politics? But you actually brought him back to politics to say that he does not support his president. So for me, I think the law is actually like a tool for the powerful to use it against
to oppress us.
Exactly, and I think that is just it from my end. I don't think I need to say.
All right, perfect, and of course we'll move to the Qatar World Cup right now, where the president of FIFA has come out with an outburst and make references and make inferential references. Like, okay, see what we've done to these people for the last 3,000 years. We need to continuously apologize to them. We've subjected these people, padlocked their mouths, made them work in plantations, sold them as if they are commodities. Yet we are the one that wants to be in the front of morals, where there are no justification for these morals. And most people will tell you they don't like Piers Morgan, including myself. I don't really like him as well, but he came out to make a very, very good point. That are we not the same country? And he's referring to the UK this time around. Are we not the same country that invaded Iraq and set them back 100 years, installed ISIS there for the next 20 years? Are they not the same country that invaded Libya and made a country that had one of the best per capita income in the world and turned them into a war zone and ravaged country, and by extension turned the whole of Africa into a war zone for terrorists? And we are seeing that in Nigeria, we are seeing that in Chad, we are seeing it in Cameroon, all across Africa. And everybody wants to talk about rights of the gays. Well, nobody is saying you should not be gay, but you have to respect the law of the land. It's like, Canada, for instance. Now, Canadians, there are some things that are acceptable in my country that are not acceptable in Canada, for instance. And I cannot do them because I'm gay. But if I do it in Nigeria, I'm not a criminal. It's not an offense. But if I do it in Canada, I'll probably go to jail for it or get fined heavily. And these are certain points that we need to point out. We need to tell people about it, educate them. And I think my anger came off the the interview that a particular Melissa on Sky Sport did, and she was talking about things that she does not even understand. And they asked the Qatari spokesman that what is it about gay? He said they don't accept public affections, whether heterosexually or homosexually. What you do behind closed doors is none of their business. And honestly, it's none of my business as well. And if that's the way they want it in their country, let it be. During the week, they went ahead as far as saying Qataris has paid 8 Ecuadorian players to lose the first match. That is just a low blow. And that's why we see polarization all across the globe. If you should have brought up all these things way back before the World Cup started, and say, okay, we don't want the World Cup in the Middle East because you guys are terrorists, you guys don't fit into a line of thinking, you guys don't fit. Because, for instance, now, Malaika, I'm looking at you, I'm looking at you straight in the eye. The US should not be hosting the World Cup. This is the same country that killed a city president. This is the same country that their president says he will grab of models. And they are hosting the World Cup next year. Next World Cup in 2026, if I'm not mistaken. And we are here, we are riding on our own high moral horse and say whatever it is that we can say, and try to belittle the principles that made Qatar has $112,000 as their per capita income. That shows you how extremely rich they are. And we are here, we're telling them the traditions that brought them this far, make them, and I'll give you another instance, Olayinka.
Okay.
The cost of the jersey, the English jersey cost £115 to make. And they did not make it in the UK. Guess where they made it? They made it in Vietnam, where people are paid £1 for their services. And you are saying Qatar brought people from Africa to work there and did not give them the good wages. What about you that pay people £1? Something that you can't do in your own country. Sometimes people say Donald Trump is the worst, but these are things that Trump said that makes him look foolish. And that's the honest truth. I want to hear your opinion about this uncalled criticism of overtly unfair criticism of Qatar. They might have done some things wrong. I'm not disputing that. Nobody is perfect, but this is overtly, in my own opinion.
Yeah, Devo, really, when first of all, this might turn out to be one of the least enjoyable World Cup, in my opinion, by the fans, I don't have anybody to blame but FIFA. They've turned into a money game. It's not just about equity. It's not about passing it across the globe. They've turned into a money game, and obviously they were aware of the restrictions that would have been in place in Qatar before, during, and after the World Cup. For example, in the game of football nowadays, you see fans, especially the British fans, you see them not wearing shirts. Don't even
They are mad.
You see them not wearing shirts. Even in
They can do that in their country.
even in minus 5
degrees
conditions. Now, the rule in Qatar is that no matter what, you must be covered up, because they
You
don't
have
allow
to behave like a responsible human being.
Yes.
It's
So
that easy.
obviously, FIFA knew all about this. You understand? And also, you can't even kiss in public. You might even be arrested. Even if you argue with the supporters of your opponent, if it becomes too loud, you could be arrested. Yeah. So we've always known that Qatar has its own policy, their own way of life. So it would have been, to me, it was rather foolhardy for FIFA to think that they could get them to change their system of living for a month, something that's been there for years. So as such, I think FIFA has to be blamed. Now, for coming to the criticism by the English people, we've always known them to be who they are. they always they see themselves as the perfect human beings. You understand? They believe that they have the best set of rules to run life, and as such, I wasn't surprised with their outburst.
By colonizing other countries and subjugating people.
I wasn't surprised by their outburst, but the truth must be said that FIFA they kickstarted this controversy by taking the most popular soccer tournament in the world to a country that is known to be restrictive when it comes to celebratory and anticipatory reactions of soccer fans. So whether we like it or not, at the end of the day,
I'll let you finish. Go ahead.
At the end of the day, in a month's time, it will be over. But what will be spoken about the World Cup in Qatar is what we are meant to ponder over, and I think it will not be too exciting in the long run.
No worry, it's going to be exciting. I know you have a dissenting opinion to what Olayinka said.
Of course, I don't agree with it. FIFA might have their own issues. There is something when we're in secondary school. If you are a student of government, one of the first terminologies you probably be introduced to is what they call sovereignty. Sovereignty, that every nation should be independent from external
forces,
interference. Everybody, see, the West cannot be. They can't be. What do you call? They can't turn
the
themselves benchmark for how they want us to behave. If you want to drink alcohol in the public, if you want to walk nakedly, that is you. That is in your nation. If I'm in the UK today, now I see you walking nakedly, walking naked outside, it doesn't make sense to me. But I'll only respect it because I'm in your nation. I know you won't do that in Nigeria. It's not possible. As long as you are not mad.
We're getting to that level.
So you have to. This is called a World Cup, and this is the hypocrisy of the Western world. I think for the fact that I think the power, when it comes to FIFA, the power to determine a lot of things is not really within their authority. Again, I think it's one of the things that is making them mad. Because as it stands now, even as mad as they want to be, if Gianni Infantino is to face any elections, they're still going to win because Asia, CONMEBOL, Africa will give him votes. So it is not within their power, and that's part of their nonsense democracy that they probably preach that is the best for everybody in the world. So every country has their own way. You can enjoy football without being mad. I know when we are very small, there are some we go around to play football. There are some estates you go to. They will tell you that you can play football, but make sure you don't do this, you don't do that. We keep quiet. We play according to their rules. When we get to our area, when we can,
when we get to monotone,
we can shout whatever we want to do. That's
but you don't do the same thing at Oluyole estates.
You understand?
But the World Cup is a carnival. It's a carnival.
It's not like they are not providing. They gave you an event somewhere.
People can shout. People can shout, and they're telling them,
every country is different. You can't use yourself as a standard. That's my own.
Sheyi made a very, very good point when he said you cannot even drink there in the French league. Within the stadium. In the stadium, around the stadium. But we are talking about beer. We are talking about that the World Cup will not be successful because fans cannot take beer in the stadium. Does that even make sense?
How does beer have to do with the quality of the game?
We are not focusing on football for some weird reason.
They need to look at themselves in the mirror. They
will never do that.
And they boy rightly said something. The most unfortunate part of this thing is majority of people that have an opinion on this thing, they are not even educated about the topic in question. Most of the noise about the migrant workers that died in Qatar, it is not even. See, the population of Qatar is more of migrants than the than the citizens.
Indigenous people.
Indigenous. And another thing is this. Most of the statistics they bring up about people that died has to do with it has to do with the entire industry of the entire country, not the people that are building the stadium. There are lots of other infrastructure going on within the country. It is not everything that has
100%.
direct. So, and some of these things, this is a country that have been trying to make progress. And even in the Western world that you are looking at, I'm sure by the time you go in depth in some of these construction sites across the, what do you call it, the Western world, you will see a lot of shady things going on there.
Olale, you start by making their own jersey in their own countries. Let's start from
Exactly.
there. Make your own jerseys.
So they can't you can't dictate how countries. I was watching the Kenya president. I did the new Kenya president interview with what's the name of this CNN lady. She was now asking she was asking about the right of gay people. So the guy now told him, see,
our problem goes beyond.
The problem they have is not the problem of gay. They have their own problem that they want
exactly.
to solve.
Everybody has their own peculiar problem. It's the truth.
That time, the truth
we address it.
The truth is this: even in the if you like in Nigeria now, you think anybody cares that you are gay, but we will not make it a law. That is what it is. It's 100%. Not like we know of people who are probably not straight people. Everybody knows them with it, but has anybody arrested anyone?
No way.
Don't come and force it on our throat that we have to make a law to recognize it. No. Yeah, you have to recognize, you have to respect every country's, what do you call it? Law.
It is but you know, right now the World Cup is being the weather, the climate in Qatar is scorchingly sunny, so hot. And you still
the weather in Qatar now is what you get in summer of. Frankly, Bob was on ESPN FC yesterday. He said the weather in Qatar now is what you get in the summer in Europe and in America. He said, in fact, when they played against Paraguay in North, doing what do you call it, France, it was hot. The weather of North was hotter than what you are going to get in Qatar today. Was the same thing.
They can wear a sleeveless jersey. Sheyi, you want to say something?
Yes.
They can wear a sleeveless jersey. Nobody's bugging them about that.
I think you're definitely right. And also, if you look at the way they dress in the summer, also, it means they actually dress, less. You can't compare summer to winter or even spring.
100%.
So I think that is what they are trying to say. But for me, I think the reason why the World Cup is called the World Cup is because it's supposed to be contested by the whole world. For some people to also come together to say, okay, because it is called the World Cup, it's supposed to be moved around the world.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense to me. And, okay, your statement about if you go to a particular country, you honor the law. There's a particular, what's it called, slogan we all use growing up, even still now. When you go to Rome, you be a Roman. So, for me, I believe that particular phrase even comes from the West. So why can't we just decide to honor the rule and the law of a particular country?
For 1 second. For 1 month.
And
I love this.
And we also believe that this is kind of a one in a kind, just like what happened to Africa with the World Cup that went to South Africa.
And that's the best World Cup since.
Yeah, the World Cup might not come to Africa in the next maybe 50 years. So why not just let the Middle East just savour this, enjoy it, let people stick to that particular law. After 1 year, everybody goes back home and enjoy whatever they want to enjoy. And do you know what? Guess what? Football always wins.
Exactly.
I will say it that this World Cup is going to be fantastic and we are going to enjoy it no matter what.
When the man picks up the trophy.
At the end of the competition,
Messi.
I tell you that we will all forget about all these controversies.
Now, kudos to Ugo Lloris. He said something during the week. He said, see, when visitors
come to France,
we want them to respect the law of the land. He said, I have my own opinion, but I'm going to respect the laws of Qatar. That is how to behave. You don't have to be entitled. And that is the way it's supposed to be.
And a warning to people that like one night stand. If they try it in Qatar,
You will not die. You will not die if you don't
What
get
what
one night stand for 1 month.
what will happen to them if they do one night stand? But if they do it, like you know the funniest thing is something is just, and this is just educative. This is just for our own education. Something about the Sharia law is before they can adjudge you to have committed fornication or adultery, they
Okay.
need to see 7 male that were attest that I saw them while they were at the act. Not I was hearing them, they were doing I actually saw them.
How possible
And
are you
for
even going to get 7 people?
How will you get 7 people? How are you going to get 7 people? You understand something that they are doing behind closed doors? You know, these are things that we just need to be a little bit open-minded. I'm a Muslim. I can't live in Qatar because I can't follow their law to the fullest, and that's the way it is. And like Sheyi said, we probably would not see World Cup going back to Africa in another 50 years. I don't think the Middle East will ever host the World Cup again. I don't think they will ever host the World Cup again.
It will be moved around European countries.
Yeah, but like I guess what? When Saudi Arabia is bringing money to Newcastle, nobody is saying anything. When they are taking their money to PSG, nobody is saying anything. When they are taking their money to Man City, nobody is saying anything. When they are trying to bring their money to Liverpool, nobody is saying anything. They don't have any force there.
We will take it.
No problem.
No, Debo,
They can
we
pay
can go to
people
Burj
10
Khalifa
pounds.
now. We can go on holiday in Burj Khalifa. We can go
Exactly.
to see everything.
They can go to Burj
We
Khalifa to have
we can
holiday
take employment. We can go and earn 420,000 pounds there as
at
MD,
at Dubai and the UAE.
but we should not take the World Cup
But we
there.
cannot respect them for just 1 month. Nobody saying you should respect them for life. Just 1 month.
And guess what? Do you know how many all producing companies within Qatar
Qatar,
make
exactly.
money? Well, of course, we don't need to mention names
Uh-huh.
of particular show, but we understand. So why can't you just go there
He reeks of hypocrisy.
of the particular sovereign country, do 1 month,
And go.
let us
It
let them support the this particular period, hosting the World Cup.
Exactly.
It's
He
He who
more
wants
bad
he who
pay.
wants equity must come with clean hands.
And there's no country that is clean in the world.
Nobody is clean. That is the truth. Nobody is clean. Nobody. No country is. Is Saudi Arabia not the same? Is their crown prince not the same person that killed the journalist?
And nothing can be done to today.
and they
And it's evident. The evidence is out there for everybody to see.
and they
So
are
nobody is clean. Anyways, let's go back to World Cup proper where we have Qatar. After all the allegations, being defeated by Enel Valencia brace, a penalty and a well-taken header to start the World Cup. The first time in the history of the World Cup where the host nation is losing their first match. But what I don't understand, Olawale, is the fact that everybody said they should beat the Qatari goalkeeper. What exactly did they wrong?
But for me, I think the biggest question for me, Debo, the biggest question for me, I think the best, I'd say, the biggest takeaway for me is this: how on earth did Qatar won the Asian Cup? That's a big indictment on nations like Australia, Japan, Korea, because what I saw today was not impressive. I was actually expecting more, because for somebody to be Asian champion, of course, it should. I was probably disappointed with whether they were carried away with them education.
I don't expect
the quality was not there. It was very slow. We don't even know whether Ecuador is that good or it's just that Qatar is just
Qatar is just bad. Just take it or leave it. They are just bad. It's not.
So,
don't disrespect to them. They are just bad, and it happens sometimes like that.
Yeah, it won't get. Let me say, better for them. They going to the competition, play the Netherlands and the Senegalese.
So it can only get worse.
Have to be the whipping boys, because the
Exactly.
gap in quality between Ecuador and Qatar was just so obvious. Like when it
Anyways,
was
if
not
you are playing the fantasy league of the World Cup, maybe you should get the striker from
for
Netherlands in your team. Probably that would do a whole world of good. I wish I had Valencia in my team. Shay,
honestly speaking,
it's gonna be alright, guys. It's gonna be Senegal versus Netherlands tomorrow. The Senegalese, they still have a little bit of quality. Although Mane is not playing, which is a very big loss. It's more or less like you losing Rashidi Yekini or you losing a Sunday Olise in a Nigerian team. But do you think they could potentially do something and make the Dutch work for the victory, or even snatch a draw in this game, or it's impossible?
The World Cup without Mane is going to be a big loss, not just to Senegal but to the whole world. Because when you look at what that man was expected to do at the World Cup, and for outsiders, Senegal was probably rated as one of the top teams as outsiders to get to the finals, and anything could happen. But now that he's out of it, I feel so sorry for Senegal. The Dutch, they have an exciting team. You have a lot of good players, young players, especially with my dear VVD at the back. They're going to they're already considered as tournament favorites, given the fact that the team is made up of young, talented players, especially Cody Gakpo in front. He's an exciting striker, and I expect him that at the end of this tournament, he's probably going to leave. Is it Ajax?
PSV.
PSV. I expect him to leave because I think he's going to take it straight outside there. He deserves it. Tomorrow, I see in the match between Senegal and Holland. I don't want to say that Holland is going to whitewash Senegal, but psychologically speaking, it's going to affect the Senegalese. They want to play for money. That's the usual thing. When you see a star being injured, the rest of the team wants to play for him. But this is the World Cup. This is where men are separated from boys. I think, honestly, apart from Mane, the other Senegalese players have not been playing at the top of their game. Koulibaly has been fumbling in Chelsea. Kyrie has been messing up in Everton. Kouyaté has not been doing too well in Forest. Mendy is okay at Leicester. So basically, from what I saw in the Nations Cup, they're a good team. But I think the person that needs them together, the person they look up to as their leader, is not there, and that will affect their performance. I see Holland beating them.
Is it going to be 4-0, 3-1?
I'll look at 3-0 or 4-1. Goal difference. 3 goal difference. 3 goal difference.
Nice. Shay, do you think it's going to be 3 goals difference as well between Senegal and okay?
No. I don't agree with that. I actually think Senegal is going to come out of this group.
Really?
Yes. Watching Ecuador today with Qatar, I could see that Ecuador actually wanted to score more goals. It's just that Qatar actually played better in the second half. From what they did in the first, and then not to concede more goals. I think the person that fails to beat Qatar the most is the guy going. Senegal is going to probably pick a draw against Netherlands tomorrow.
Wow.
Probably beat Ecuador and beat
Qatar for sure. That will give them a maximum of 7. That will give them 7 points. That will be wonderful. Anyways, Olale, I know you are not too keen on the English national team, and they are going to be playing a low block formation of Carlos Queiroz, the Iranian national team. What do you think of this game? I'm hoping.
Let me just say,
I'm strongly hoping it's going to end up in a draw.
Since I've started watching international football, let me say around 1992, 94, probably this is the first competition I just wish the English team just crashed out at the first one. Let them just go back home and continue to
flex
their protest, since they don't want to play football. But they said they are going to take the knees tomorrow. I don't know what knees they are taking tomorrow. So, but looking at the game proper, the Iranians, we don't know much about them, but from their past results, even past results at the World Cup, one thing that is very certain is they are very athletes. They might lose 3 games, but they might probably not lose any game more than by 1 goal, a goal or
Scandalously.
two match, which is
Yeah.
something, which means the English side should expect a well organized Iranian
Iranian
team.
team. Yeah.
I think the first 30 minutes of the game determines what
What happened?
will determine how the game is going to end. Because if the English struggles to establish
Their
their
dominance.
authority on the game within that 30 minutes, either by creating quality, even if they don't score, by creating quality chances, I see a game probably ending 1-0 or probably end, because the English on their own side, they've not been impressive in the past few months. They've been
You know what your
struggling
brother is.
to,
Yeah, you know what your brother is going to do. Your brother is still going
yeah,
to play
and again,
Calvin
I'm
Phillips
sure
and
he's going to
Declan
come
Rice
up
in the
with
middle
a
of the park.
3-5-2 formation, which is very, very unnecessary in this kind of
Exactly.
game.
So
On a more serious note, I'm not too confident about what the English team will be able to do, because I just
Isn't
feel
this a
like
game that
I
Cable loves
just
to
feel
play?
like the talent in that team is being underutilized by
yeah,
by Southgate.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
And
I agree with you.
I don't see anything different happening now. I don't think Southgate will today change his way. It's just not going to happen. But I'll still probably give England a 1-0
Go, you still
victory.
go with
But I will not be surprised
okay.
if
All right,
Iran
if they
comes
draw.
out with a draw.
Okay, all right, do you agree with Olale? You know your brother. You know your Southgate is going to play Calvin Phillips and Declan Rice in the middle of the park. That stifles creativity. That gives no room for creativity already, right?
Well, it all depends. To me,
Okay.
I think the best formation for England right now, given the players they have, should be a 3-4-2-1, which I think they are going to play.
Okay. That would be nice.
What do I mean by that? You have Harry Kane up front. You have Bukayo Saka on the left and Bukayo on the right, Phil Foden on the left. Then in the middle, Bellingham has been playing. He has played wonderfully well this season. So I see him playing with Declan Rice in the middle.
Oh wow.
Then they might decide to, in such a situation, they might decide to use 2 wing backs. You have Trippier and Shaw playing at wing backs. However, the slippery banana peel they have is at the back. If they decide to go for 3 at the back, Stones, Dyer, and
Harry Maguire.
They smell like Maguire. That is the most maligned player that in this year. And the truth is, it doesn't give anybody any joy. Even Eric Dyer is not a natural defender. He's a DM. And John Stones is Mr. Mistakes. So to me, England is going to win. They're going to score goals, but they're going to concede.
Oh, okay.
They're going to concede, but they're going to win. Probably 3-0 or 3-1.
3-1. Okay.
3-1.
Sheyi, do you agree with that? Do you think it's going to be England's day to carry? I'm rooting for a draw, anyways. But do you agree, Sheyi?
No. I think England is going to win this match, but the manner will depend on the way Southgate, places his team, just like Olayinka was trying to analyze to us. I agree with Olayinka's
analysis.
That seems to be what I'm looking out for. I think Trippier and Shaw playing from the wings is going to bring a lot of promises for England, because playing Iran, they should just do the proper English type of football. Go direct.
You can follow.
Thank you. Kill them the way you know how to do it. Get Harry Kane at the end of those balls and score 3 goals and just substitute and rest players. Otherwise, they are going to face a crazy team. Iran is not going to come out to play. It's going to be a low blocking defense. So,
yeah.
I just think they just go direct. Simple. Get the 3 points and, regroup.
All right, perfect. Olale is going to take over now for the Wales and the US game. Olale, go ahead.
Yeah, okay, so I think the last game of the day is going to be Wales versus the United States. Yeah, for me, I'm looking at this game. I feel these 2 teams are equally matched. I don't know your opinion, Olayinka.
I think yes, they are equally matched, but the game will be won in the midfield, and surprisingly, I see the Americans having a slight edge there, because when you look at the Welsh team, they're going to have Ramsey and Adrian Ramsey and Joe Allen.
Joe
They're going
Allen.
to be pairing. I mean, that's 5 years ago. Yes, you could have said that those two will play decent, good football. But right now, they're old, and they might not be able to hold the rampaging Americans, who themselves are not been playing too well. So I think it's going to be interesting. We're not going to see a lot of goals. It's going to be interesting, and probably the odd goal might win this match. The odd goal, probably 1-0 or 2-1. The odd goal will win this match. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting.
So Shay, let me come over to you now. How significant is it going to be for Wales? Let me, as in the impact of Gareth Bale, because for me, looking at these two teams, like I said earlier on, they look equally matched. Can Gareth Bale be the X factor in this game for the Welsh national team?
Yeah, definitely. I believe the Welsh team will be looking up to Gareth Bale. But also, don't let us forget about the likes of Joe Allen and Aaron Ramsey. Those are equally experienced players when it comes to tournament players, and also we know where they've played in terms of European football. I think they need to actually look at their midfield, and like Olayinka said, the game will actually be won in the midfield. I think the Welsh team just have that edge in the midfield compared to the Americans. They might just nick it. Of course.
So let me just take your predictions now. Who do you think is going to take this?
I think Wales is going to win this particular time.
What about Olayinka?
I'll go for the Americans. They are my big.
Yeah,
they are
personally,
my
I
big
think I'll
brothers.
go for the Americans too. I just feel like they look a little bit younger. They seems to play with a bit of pace. They might not have Gareth Bale, but I think in Christian Pulisic and the likes of Taylor Adams, Reina, I just think they seem to have a bit of the quality edge. Even though they look equally matched, but those, I think in terms of quality overall, the Americans seems to have the edge over the Welsh team, except that Gareth Bale is going to probably roll back the years. I think I'm going to give it to the US national team. Thank you guys for coming today. That will call it a wrap. We have a daily World Cup show that is going on. I know it's not easy. We're very happy to have you, Olayinka and Sheyi, one of these days during the week. Join us during the World Cup for the daily show. So that's going to be it for today. Thank you guys. See, we'll meet tomorrow. Have a nice is it nice day or nice night? Probably it's already night.
Both.